Welcome back to Deep Dive English. Today we are deleting the word very from your vocabulary.
That's right. And this isn't, just a simple vocabulary lesson.
Yeah.
This is more like a high-level communication intervention.
Yay.
For our listeners who are really striving for that C1, maybe even C2 level, just being correct isn't enough anymore.
Right. Correct is just the baseline. It's the entrance fee to get into the professional arena.
Exactly. So this deep dive is all about moving beyond that, beyond language that's just, structurally sound but maybe a little bland, and toward English that is truly compelling.
And our mission today feels pretty critical. We are going to identify these lazy linguistic habits that maybe unconsciously undermine your professional authority.
And then replace them immediately.
I think a lot of our listeners are at that point where, okay, they know the rules, they rarely make grammar mistakes, but they still feel like their communication lacks, I don't know, that intellectual punch.
The punch you need to command a room or to lead a really high-stakes meeting.
So we're basically upgrading the operating system of your vocabulary. We're going to treat your language like a tool of precision engineering, not just, for basic communication.
That's a perfect way to put it. We're diving into what some linguistic experts, the ones focused on executive communication, call lazy language. Our focus is on precision.
Precision in intensity and description.
Yes, because that level of precision acts as a direct, and it's often a subconscious proxy for intellectual authority.
In any high-level professional setting.
The principle is, well, it's non-negotiable, really. If you want to be perceived as intelligent and authoritative, you just have to stop outsourcing the work of complex description to these generic one-size-fits-all intensifiers.
Okay, let's unpack this immediately, starting with the diagnosis, because I have to say, calling common, everyday language lazy feels a little harsh.
It does sound harsh, but I think the evidence really backs it up.
So we've introduced the term lazy language. How are the sources defining this for us? And what makes relying on this kind of generic vocabulary an issue beyond, just style?
So lazy language is fundamentally defined by a reliance on simple, vague vocabulary.
When there are better options available.
When far more specific, nuanced options are readily available and, importantly, appropriate for the context. It's the linguistic equivalent of, say, using a butter knife when you really need a scalpel.
And the main culprit.
Oh, the primary culprit, the star offender in this whole pattern, is the ingrained reliance on generic intensifiers like very.
Right.
And it's followed closely by others like really or super.
And the issue isn't that the word very is inherently evil or grammatically wrong.
Not at all.
The core problem is what it fails to do, what it
Right.
fails to communicate. It introduces ambiguity where there should be certainty.
Precisely. Lazy language just fails to capture the necessary nuance or the precise degree of intensity that's required for communication at the C1 level.
Which is the standard that's expected in environments that demand leadership and deep analysis.
Exactly. When you default to very, you are signaling a lack of precision. Or maybe you're demonstrating an unwillingness to engage with the vocabulary needed to accurately describe the situation.
Yeah.
It's a deficit of descriptive commitment.
Let's get straight to what you call the very trap, because this is where the comparison becomes so stark. We're talking about the inherent weakness in phrases like very good or very big or very bad.
Yeah, think about the cognitive load you place on your listener. Just think about that for a second. When someone in a meeting says, the quarter's results were very good, what does that actually tell you?
Nothing really, nothing concrete.
Exactly. Was it technically flawless? Did it exceed expectations by 1% or 50%? Was it, exceptional compared to historical data or just better than expected?
So the listener is forced to do this kind of cognitive estimation. They have to guess at the speaker's intensity and what standard they're even applying.
Yes. And when a listener has to guess, they stop listening to the message.
And they start evaluating you.
This is such a critical point. Our source material frames this perfectly when it talks about the perception gap. It says, and I'm quoting here, a child says, very good. A professional says, exceptional, flawless, or commendable.
Oof. That comparison is brutal.
It is brutal because it's not about vocabulary size alone. It's about perceived intellectual maturity and, depth of analysis. We associate precision with maturity.
And for our advanced learners, we should probably give them the technical why behind this, because we don't want to just give substitutions. We want to give them the whole linguistic framework. Let's talk about grading.
Yes, that's essential for C1 mastery. The linguistic effect of using very is often one of structural weakness. And it stems from the relationship between what we call grading and non-grading adjectives.
Okay, so most adjectives are grading. They exist on a scale.
Right, like warm, hot, boiling. You can intensify them. Very hot. But many of the strong adjectives we're going to talk about, the replacements, are non-grading or absolute. They describe an all-or-nothing state.
Like the word unique.
Exactly. Something can't be very unique. It either is unique or it isn't.
Right.
And similarly, if something is starving, which is our example from the practice session later, it's already at the extreme limit of hunger. Saying very starving is just redundant. It's technically incorrect.
So by defaulting to very, you're signaling that the strong adjective you should be using, the non-grading one that does all the work, is somehow out of reach.
Or that you don't quite grasp its absolute nature.
Yes. So if I say very happy, I'm just collapsing this huge range of emotional data into one flat, scalable statement. But if I use elated or thrilled...
Those are often near absolute emotional states. They immediately communicate a specific energy, a source, a context.
They do the descriptive work instantly.
They do. If you're thrilled, that carries a specific energy tied to external excitement that very happy just can't match. If the results are exceptional, that implies a measured comparison against established high standards.
And this brings us to that critical distinction that's the foundation of this whole dive.
Correct.
Versus compelling. Simple English is absolutely correct. The grammar is sound, it's functional, it's easy to understand. But in high-stakes professional environments, negotiating a contract, writing a report, pitching an investment, correctness is the floor. It's not the ceiling.
The ceiling is compelling. And if your goal is to influence or to inform or to lead, then just being grammatically sound is not enough. It's not going to cut it.
So the moment you use lazy language,
your communication lacks impact. And critically, it lacks intellectual authority. When you use a weak intensifier, you are subtly, and like we said, often subconsciously signaling to your audience that your analysis is superficial, even if the thought process that got you there was incredibly complex.
So the vocabulary choice becomes the thing that's immediately visible. It's the measure of your internal intellectual process. And that's what we need to elevate.
Yes, exactly.
So let's move beyond the purely linguistic side of this and talk about the psychological and professional cost. I want to ask the core question because this is where a skeptical learner might push back.
Go for it.
Does vocabulary really change how people evaluate my intelligence or how seriously they take me?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitively, yes. The source material is crystal clear on this. Precision signals authority. And we are not talking about using obscure, academic words just to sound clever.
No, this isn't about snobbery.
Not at all. It's about choosing the exact word needed to describe reality. It's cognitive efficiency.
Okay, break down that cognitive mechanism for us. Why does precision instantly give you authority?
When a listener hears someone using highly specific, targeted vocabulary, their brain immediately assigns that person a higher level of subject expertise.
Okay.
Think of it like this. If you go to a medical professional and they say, your stomach really hurts very bad, you're going to be concerned about their competence.
Yeah, a little bit.
But if they say, we have observed inflammation of the gastric mucosa, which is leading to acute, persistent abdominal distress, you trust them.
Right, because the second statement uses precise technical terms. It categorizes the severity, the location of the problem. It implies a detailed knowledge map of the condition.
That's the analogy. In the professional world, if I describe a financial situation as merely bad, I could be talking about anything from a minor missed deadline to a potential insolvency.
It's too vague.
It's only vague. But if I use a precise term like detrimental or catastrophic or crippling, I'm demonstrating not only the vocabulary, but the ability to accurately categorize the severity and the type of negative impact.
Within a known professional context.
Yes. Specificity in language is interpreted by the listener as specificity in knowledge.
So it's a feedback loop. Precise language implies deep knowledge.
Deep knowledge confers authority.
Authority increases influence.
That's it. So let's examine the psychological effect on the listener and how this all affects influence, because influence is currency in the professional world.
And when I start a presentation with imprecise language, I'm basically giving my audience permission to tune out.
Or to question your fundamental understanding. That's the danger.
Right.
When you shift from lazy language to precise language, you fundamentally shift the dynamic in the room. If you use generic language, the listener is doing two things at once.
Yeah.
They're evaluating you, and they're trying to understand the message.
Okay, but if you use precise language...
You eliminate that cognitive burden.
Mm.
The listener can focus entirely on evaluating the message itself. You immediately appear more credible, more engaged, and, more urgent.
That distinction, whether the audience is evaluating me or evaluating the message, that is profound. That's a huge shift.
It really is.
So if the audience is evaluating the message, what other rhetorical techniques should I be using alongside precision to really maximize that shift?
That's a great question. Once you've established precision, you capitalize on it by framing. Our source gives a classic example. Replacing the vague, "this is a very big problem,"
Right.
with the targeted, "this is a crucial issue."
Yeah.
Notice the shift. Very big problem sounds subjective. It sounds like a complaint or just a general obstacle that might pass. Crucial issue is objective.
It signals high stakes, intellectual urgency, professional categorization.
You've changed the frame from a general difficulty to a defining moment. The language choice shifts the perception of urgency and, most importantly, the intellectual engagement required from the audience. You are commanding attention, not asking for it.
You're forcing prioritization.
Yes, and this concept is so important that we need to address the possibility of using very one last time.
Okay.
If we accept that we have to eliminate very in favor of the strong adjective, the immediate question for the learner is, can I ever use it again?
Yeah.
Or is it a total ban?
That's the pragmatic challenge. We're aiming for C1 mastery, and that means control, not censorship.
Which leads us perfectly to this powerful analogy from our source material. You should treat the word very like salt in a professional meal.
We treat it like salt.
Use a tiny bit. Too much ruins the meal and destroys the flavor.
I like that. So the goal isn't a total puritanical ban.
No, not at all. It's extreme restraint. It's conscious, controlled application. The default choice must always be the strong, precise adjective that eliminates the need for the intensifier in the first place.
Because if I reach for very, I am essentially signaling, I know there's a better word, a more specific word, but I'm just choosing not to retrieve it right now. Maybe out of laziness.
That is the underlying message. You reserve very only for those incredibly rare circumstances where the perfect strong adjective genuinely escapes you in the moment. Or maybe you're using it stylistically to create an unusual emphasis, which again is incredibly rare in professional communication.
So for C1 level operation, the strong adjective always comes first.
Always. Make the listener focus on the descriptive power, not the generic amplification.
Okay, now that we've diagnosed the problem and we accept why precision is so important, let's turn to the solution.
Yes, we need to internalize the instinct to choose the precise word over the generic placeholder. So we're going to look at 5 critical replacements, we're calling them power swaps, that instantly upgrade common basic words into C1 level precision.
I like that, power swaps.
Think of them as the vocabulary equivalents of turning basic steel into high-grade titanium. They're designed for speed and impact.
And this requires us to spend a bit of time on the subtle nuances, right? Because a C1 learner doesn't just need synonyms, they need contextual accuracy.
Absolutely. Let's start with our first one.
Okay.
Power swap 1. Emotional intensity. We are eliminating very happy.
The weak phrase, of course, very happy. It's the universal placeholder for all positive emotional states, no matter the cause or duration.
And it has to be replaced with specificity. Our power swaps here are elated and thrilled.
So let's dedicate some time to the essential nuance between those two. Because choosing the wrong one, even if it's grammatically correct, can signal a mismatch between the emotion and the event.
Absolutely. So, elated refers to a deep, often sustained, internal state of high joy or spiritual upliftment. It's profound.
So you might feel elated after hearing fantastic news about a long-term goal you've achieved.
Yes, or elated that your years of research have finally paid off. It's an internalized, profound sense of joy, pride, and success. The source of the joy is often centered within yourself or your achievement.
It feels centered and long-lasting. So you would be elated to get a promotion that validates a decade of hard work.
Precisely. Whereas thrilled typically implies immediate excitement. It usually results from an external or immediate event, often one that involves sensory excitement.
So you're thrilled to attend a concert.
Yes, or thrilled by an unexpected lucrative partnership, or thrilled to begin a new, exciting project. The joy is highly expressive, and it's tied to a specific, maybe immediate happening.
Can you give us an explicit sentence example to really cement this difference for the listener?
Of course. Consider this. I was elated when the merger was confirmed, signaling the long-term success of the company. But I was thrilled to finally celebrate it that evening at the partners' party. See how elated describes the deep, internalized satisfaction of the professional outcome.
And thrilled describes the immediate external excitement of the celebration itself.
Exactly. Choosing between them instantly shows that you are articulating the source and the nature of your happiness, not just the general feeling. That is precision in emotional articulation.
Okay, that's a great distinction. What's next?
Next, we tackled the description of fatigue. Very tired.
Another placeholder that tells the listener nothing about the severity or, critically, the cause of the depletion.
Right. And the professional consequence of using very tired is that it can often sound like an excuse or even a complaint rather than a description of measurable physical state.
So the swaps here are...
Exhausted and drained.
Okay.
Exhausted is the purest, non-grading state of extreme fatigue. It means you are utterly worn out. Your body or your mind is at its absolute limit. It often implies a need for immediate restorative sleep.
Running a marathon leaves you exhausted.
Working a 48-hour shift leaves you exhausted.
Yes. And drained offers that important layer of contextual nuance.
Yes. Drained is more specific about the mechanism of depletion. It often implies a mental, emotional, or creative energy depletion. It suggests that a specific reserve has been consumed, often over a long period.
So you might be mentally drained after a month of complex, stressful negotiations.
Or emotionally drained after handling a difficult interpersonal crisis at work.
Exactly.
So if I say, I am exhausted, the listener thinks I need a nap. If I say, I am drained,
The listener understands you need a break from high cognitive load activities. Precisely. Using drained suggests a resource depletion that may require mental replenishment, not just sleep.
can you give an example for that one?
Sure. After the technical review, my team was drained from the constant scrutiny, so we scheduled a day of creative, low-stress tasks to replenish their intellectual reserves.
I see. Both convey this state far more powerfully than very tired, but drained gives that analytical insight into the type of recovery that's needed. That's the precision we're after. Now, moving to the negative spectrum, we have the most ubiquitous lazy language phrase in professional critique. Very bad.
Ugh, yes. This phrase signals a vague general distaste rather than a targeted analytical judgment.
So to upgrade this, we use atrocious and detrimental. This is where we show sophistication and professional judgment. The choice has to reflect whether we're judging inherent quality or measurable impact.
Okay, let's break that down. Atrocious.
Atrocious is a powerful, non-grading word. It often relates to inherent quality, moral standing, or fundamental taste and execution. An atrocious policy is deeply flawed, maybe ethically or structurally. An atrocious pitch deck is shockingly poor in design and content.
It's a severe, near-absolute judgment against a high standard. It speaks to the fundamental nature of the thing, a qualitative critique.
Correct. Now, detrimental is entirely focused on consequence. It specifically highlights harm, loss, or negative consequence. It's highly specific in a professional context because it focuses on measurable effects.
A financial decision isn't just bad.
It is detrimental to our Q4 market share. A structural flaw is detrimental to the longevity of the project.
I see the nuance there. If I call a strategy atrocious, I'm saying it's poorly conceived. But if I call it detrimental, I'm focusing on the quantified financial or operational damage it caused.
Exactly. Choosing detrimental shows you are focusing on the measurable, quantifiable, negative impact. That is essential for business communication. It shows a much greater level of articulation and analysis.
Okay, this next swap is crucial because it's not about intensity, it's about authority. We're eliminating the tentative phrase, I think.
Yes, this one is so important for C1 level communication. In a professional setting, thinking sounds like suggesting. Knowing or asserting sounds like leading. I think creates a hesitation gap.
A gap that your opposition or colleagues can exploit.
That's right. Our power swaps are, I am convinced, and it seems evident. These are authority upgrades. Let's analyze the profound rhetorical shift here. When you move to I am convinced, you are asserting that your conclusion is based on thorough internal reasoning, analysis, and deep personal experience or expertise.
So you move the statement from a casual guess to a deeply held, supported, professional belief.
You convey immediate confidence, you show you're prepared, and you command respect. You're putting your entire intellectual weight behind this statement.
So that's a subjective authority statement backed by my experience. What about objective authority?
That's where it seems evident comes in. This is a brilliant phrase because it relies on observable external facts and data rather than your personal conjecture. You're essentially saying, based on the metrics available, The data points clearly and unambiguously to this conclusion. You are leveraging external, verifiable evidence to support your assertion.
Which is vital in any data-driven discussion or presentation.
Absolutely. So if I'm presenting projections based on my proprietary model, I say, I am convinced the market will respond positively.
But if I'm reporting on current public industry trends, I say, it seems evident that the industry is contracting.
Perfect application. One is informed by internal expertise, the other by external observation. These two swaps immediately upgrade your presence from a hesitant participant to an informed, authoritative leader.
Fantastic. What's our last one?
Finally, we tackle the word important. Like, very good. It's so overused in emails and meetings that it has lost almost all its signaling power.
When everything is important, nothing truly stands out.
Exactly. We need words that articulate the absolute scale of prioritization. Our swaps here are crucial and paramount. This is about articulating the escalation of necessity.
So crucial.
Crucial implies necessity and high stakes, something absolutely necessary for success, completion, or survival. Without this crucial resource, the project fails. Without this crucial client, we lose market viability.
It suggests a decisive make or break point.
Right. It's necessary for continuity.
Yeah.
So it's high stakes, but maybe still part of a larger sequence.
And paramount.
Paramount suggests ultimate importance, surpassing all others. It defines the highest rank of priority. It is the fundamental guiding principle. Our paramount objective is customer safety, regardless of cost.
So if a situation or decision is paramount, it means it overrides all other concerns, considerations, or competing priorities.
That's right. So when choosing between them, you ask yourself, is this necessary for the next step? That's crucial. Or is this necessary for the entire existence of the project? That's paramount.
The stronger word forces the listener to prioritize the topic immediately and unambiguously. You are not just making a weak statement of relevance, you are setting the agenda.
And establishing a clear hierarchy of values. That's the power.
Okay, so we have the concepts, we have the technical definitions, and we have these 10 powerful tools. Now we need to develop the muscle memory.
The instinct. The goal of this next phase is not slow, labored retrieval. It has to be instant, precise correction. We need to override that lazy language instinct completely.
So we're going into critical role play. I'm going to provide the weak language, and you, the listener, need to correct it instantly with the power word. And I need to practice this too. Even as a host reading these sources, I find myself reverting to very under pressure. It's a habit that requires conscious destruction.
That's the challenge. We are coaching you to instantly identify and correct lazy language in real time. We'll start with the mandatory rule that illustrates the speed and the whole non-grading adjective concept.
Okay, I'm ready. I am very hungry.
I'm starving.
That fast. That fluid. That immediate correction demonstrates the shift. You're not wasting 3 seconds searching for the right adjective.
You are automatically choosing the strong, non-grading descriptor that eliminates the need for any intensifier.
Okay, let's apply this across the 5 categories now. Let's build up the complexity by using multi-phrase professional dialogue. This is the real test of C1 application.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with that initial dialogue from the source, but we can upgrade it even further. I'll take the weak position. Professor, I was very happy with my very good exam results, and I think I deserve a raise.
Stop. Let's correct all 3 instantly. You were elated with your exceptional results, and I am convinced you deserve a raise.
Wow.
Notice how the sentence structure now conveys pride and confidence. The correction validates the achievement, and it elevates the assertion instantly.
That's a massive difference in presentation. The hesitation is just gone. Okay, let's try a common executive summary. I'm giving a quarterly review to the board. I need to convey urgency and fatigue without sounding whiny.
Give us the weak version.
The financial forecast for Q3 looks very bad, and honestly, the whole team is very tired, so fixing this contract is very important.
Okay, that's 4 critical corrections needed there. The correction has to be immediate and targeted. The forecast does not look very bad.
It looks detrimental.
The team is not very tired.
They are drained.
And the contract is not very important.
It is paramount.
So the upgraded statement is, the financial forecast for Q3 looks detrimental and the whole team is drained, so fixing this contract is paramount.
Now that statement has weight. Detrimental conveys specific financial harm. Drained acknowledges their deep cognitive contribution. And paramount forces the board to understand this issue supersedes all others.
This is executive communication.
I sometimes struggle with the difference between crucial and paramount in a rapid conversation. Let's say the CEO is asking me why we failed to secure a key vendor. I reply, I think we underestimated how important a speedy response was.
You have to remove both the hesitation and clarify the degree of necessity. So, it seems evident that we underestimated how crucial a speedy response was.
Ah.
By choosing, it seems evident you base your analysis on the facts. You missed the deadline. By choosing crucial, you categorize the response time as a decisive failure point, the thing necessary for that next step.
Okay, let's try to incorporate the negative quality swap. A scenario where I'm critiquing internal operations. I need to be firm, but focused on the source of the failure. I say, the design of the new application is very bad, and I was very happy when we decided to stop the project.
The correction. The design of the new application is atrocious, and I was elated when we decided to stop the project.
Okay, why those choices?
Atrocious targets the fundamental lack of quality in the design itself, which justifies stopping the project.
Mm.
And elated connects your joy to the specific satisfaction of correcting an internal, fundamental flaw.
That shifts the narrative from my subjective dissatisfaction to an objective quality judgment. Okay, one more. Let's go back to the dual emotional states. I want to celebrate an unexpected win with my team. I say, I am very happy and very tired, but this is a very good win.
You are thrilled and exhausted, but this is an exceptional win.
Okay, break that down.
Thrilled captures the immediate external excitement of the unexpected victory. Exhausted captures the physical toll the effort required, and exceptional measures the victory against the highest standard.
That's a critical distinction. The key here, for me as a learner, is understanding that the time I save by using the generic word is instantly spent by the listener trying to decipher what I really meant. Strong adjectives save everyone time and cognitive energy.
They absolutely do. And this extended practice brings us to the synthesis of the mindset shift. The goal is not merely memorizing these 10 words. It's developing a linguistic instinct,
A reflex.
a mental reflex, to choose the most precise word available to describe reality. This signals sophisticated thought because you're demonstrating an immediate grasp of nuance and intensity, even under pressure.
And if that reflex isn't there yet, you have to consciously inventory the very words you use most often. Your very bigs, your very smalls, very goods, and have the replacement words queued up in your mind.
You have to. The vocabulary of intelligence demands efficiency and impact. Every single word choice is a representation of the depth of your internal analysis.
If your language is flat, your thought process is assumed to be flat.
And if your language is precise, your thought process is assumed to be rigorous. That's the power of this professional upgrade.
Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive. We started with the simple premise of deleting one common word, very, and we've discovered that in doing so, we've opened up a whole new standard of C1 level professional communication.
We reinforced the central argument. The vocabulary of intelligence requires you to abandon lazy language. You have to choose precision to signal authority. If you use generic language, you risk having your perfectly sound ideas dismissed. Not because they lack merit, but because your articulation lacks the intellectual impact required to convey their urgency and their depth.
Your language is not just descriptive. It is your proxy for your professional acumen in the world.
So we'll leave you with this final provocative thought. If eliminating the single weak word very instantly elevates your articulation to the C1 level, what is the compounding impact on your professional life? On your negotiations, your presentations, your leadership? When you consistently choose the compelling word over the merely correct word.
So we challenge you to conduct a linguistic inventory. Today.
And don't stop at very. What other words are you using that are correct, but are silently diminishing your authority? Look for placeholders like really, the filler noun thing, or the weak verb get. Find those generic habits and swap them out for precision. That inventory is the next crucial step toward achieving true linguistic power and authority.